Good morning, everyone. This is our recorded lecture on hypothetical propositions. Before we discuss the rules on hypothetical syllogism, you should know first the nature of hypothetical proposition, because the major premise of hypothetical syllogism, of course, is or must be a hypothetical proposition. In this lecture, take note of the types of hypothetical propositions and the structure or the schema of each type of hypothetical proposition and the rules. Let's start with a short recap of what we discussed about categorical proposition. We mentioned during the past discussions that categorical proposition is a simple proposition, meaning it involves only one judgment, which gives a direct and unconditional affirmation or denial of a subject predicate type about the existence or non-existence of something. For example, Laudato Si is not a scientific document. This is a simple proposition because it only expresses one judgment about Laudato Si. It has a direct judgment or direct statement about the subject matter, in this case, Laudato Si. And the predicate term negates the quality about the subject. We say Laudato Si is not included in the category scientific document. So that is a categorical proposition. How about this one? If Tiffany Uy is a summa cum laude, then she must be good in academics. Is this a categorical proposition? The answer is no, because it involves two judgments. It's not a simple proposition. It involves two judgments, namely, Tiffany Uy is a summa cum laude, and she must be good in academics, or Tiffany Uy must be good in academics. Hypothetical proposition is the opposite of categorical proposition. In what sense? Because first, it is a compound proposition, unlike categorical proposition, which is simple. It does not affirm or deny the components. In our previous example, Laudato Si is not a scientific document. It expresses denial, It expresses disagreement between the term Laudato Si and scientific document. In hypothetical proposition, there is no expression of affirmation or denial of the components. Rather, it deals about the condition and validity of their connection. There are three types of hypothetical proposition, namely conditional proposition, disjunctive proposition, conjunctive proposition. Disjunctive proposition can be divided into two: proper disjunctive proposition, improper disjunctive proposition. We're going to discuss them one by one. While conjunctive proposition can also be divided into two-part conjunctive proposition and more than two-part conjunctive proposition. Let's go first to conditional proposition. This kind of proposition expresses a relation of dependence between two propositions. For example, if you have a time machine, then you can go back to the past. Okay? What are the two judgments involved in this proposition? You have a time machine and you can go back to the past. The first proposition is the condition. If you have a time machine, that's the condition. And then the second proposition is what we call conditional. If you have a time machine, then you can go back to the past. Okay? It expresses relation of dependence between the condition and the conditional. This proposition expresses relation of dependence. Okay. Unlike in categorical proposition, which expresses agreement or disagreement. While in conditional proposition, the expression is relation of dependence between the two judgments called condition and conditional. The schema or the pattern of conditional proposition is if P, then Q. Okay? You have to familiarize this. You have to know this by heart. So the pattern or structure of conditional proposition is if P, then Q. All right? So the symbol of relation of dependence or conditional relation is a horseshoe. A horseshoe. Okay? The condition or the P is called antecedent. Can you follow? Antecedent. While the conditional or the Q is called consequent. You have to note that when we speak of condition, when we speak of the antecedent, we mean the necessary or sufficient condition. What does it mean? If P is a necessary condition of Q, then Q cannot be true unless P is true. The relation of dependence must be necessary or causal relation. Causal relation. If there is no causal or necessary connection, then the proposition is false. Okay? The conditional proposition will only be true if and only if, or if and only when the condition is a necessary condition of the conditional. Okay? For example, if Pedro is poor, then he is needy. What are the components here? Pedro is poor is the antecedent, as we all know. Okay? This is our condition. While he is needy is the conditional. He is needy is the consequent. Again, what is the pattern of this? P, then Q. If Pedro is poor, then he is needy. Okay? Medyo pagalan natin ng konti. If it is true that Pedro is poor, then its consequent is necessarily true as well. The previous example expresses a causal connection between Pedro as being poor and Pedro as being needy. Now take note that occasionally the word then is left out. Like in this example, if I fail this subject twice, I will be debarred. That is also a conditional proposition. Don't think that if you don't have the word then it's not a conditional proposition. The important thing is the proposition expresses causal connection between the condition and the conditional. How about this example? If you are hungry, then I will go to sleep. Is this true or false? The answer is false. Why? Because there is no necessary connection between the proposition you are hungry and the proposition I will go to sleep. Is it necessary that if someone is hungry, then you will go to sleep? Okay. That's not, there is no necessary connection or there is no causal relation between the condition and the conditional. So that is false. Meaning, not all conditional propositions express causal connection. Again, it does not matter if both the antecedent and the consequent is true or false. In conditional proposition, what matters is the logical connection between the two statements. Unlike in categorical proposition, what is the basis of truth and falsehood? Reality, of course. Here in conditional proposition, the basis of truth and falsehood is the causal connection. In the previous example, this is false because there is no causal relation between the judgment, you are hungry and I will go to sleep. Now, take note that there are complex statements in conditional proposition. complex statements because they are not in if-then wordings. Okay? And sometimes the condition is not the first statement, rather the second statement. Like in this case, for God so loved the world that he gave his only son. Is this a conditional proposition? Yes, because there is cause and effect. The condition or the cause is God so loved the world. Because of that, he gave his only son. All right? Another example of complex statement. He laughs when he is happy. Is this a conditional proposition? Yes. Okay? Because it expresses relate relation of dependence, or causal connection uh, he between he loves and he is happy. The condition here is he is happy, and the effect or conditional is he loves. So the P here, the P is he is happy. This is the P, or what we call the antecedent. Okay, and then the effect or the conditional or the Q is he loves. Another example is the more he procrastinated, the more he did not get the job done. Is this a conditional proposition? Yes. This is P and this is Q. Okay. So take note that there are instances where the conditional proposition is not in if-then formula. Okay. If-then wordings. But if the proposition expresses causal connection between an antecedent and consequent, that is a conditional proposition. Also, occasionally, the order of antecedent and consequent can be reversed provided that the conjunction if still precedes the consequent. For example, if we shall succeed if we shall not give up. Here, the P is we shall not give up. And then the Q is we shall succeed. The key point in our previous discussion is that the truth of conditional proposition depends on the causal connection between the consequent and the antecedent. Meaning, the truth and falsehood does not depend on the truth and falsehood of the components. Rather, it depends on the causal connection between the P and the Q. For example, come to think of this, is this true or false? Is this conditional proposition true or false? If Nancy is the sister of Celine, then Nancy is the child of Celine's father. Okay? This is a conditional proposition. Now the question is this true or false? Okay. If Nancy is the sister of Celine, then Nancy is the child of Celine's father. What is your answer? Okay. Of course, the answer is this is false. Why? Because it's possible that although they are sisters, it's possible that they are only maternally related. It's possible that they only have the same mother, but they don't have the same father. But they are also called sisters. Okay? They are also called sisters. You may call them stepsisters, no? But they are also called sisters. Okay? Now, if you are asked in the exam, determine the parts of the proposition. If Sandra is a Catholic, then she is a Christian. What are the parts of this conditional proposition? Sandra is Catholic is the antecedent. She is a Christian, or Sandra is a Christian is the consequent. The logical pattern of this syllogism is if P then Q, but there is P, therefore there is Q. Okay. Later, we are going to discuss conditional syllogism. Okay. What we are trying to discuss for today's discussion is proposition, conditional proposition. Okay, para hindi na kayo mabigla when we discuss the syllogism. So the major premise must be a conditional proposition. Okay, the minor premise may either deny or affirm the consequent or the antecedent. In this case, it affirms the antecedent. You say, but there is P. So in the conclusion, you say Q is also present. Q is also present. So you say if P then Q, but there is P. But there is P. Okay. Therefore, you say, therefore, there is, in the conclusion, therefore, there is Q. Okay. So that's the pattern of this conditional syllogism. Yung rules in conditional syllogism, i-discuss natin yan sa sunod. You must be familiar with the structure of conditional syllogism first. Okay, that's the major premise. The minor premise is this. You say in the minor premise, but there is P. Therefore, there is Q. Later, you will understand this is a valid pattern, modus ponens. Modus ponens. That's the first pattern, the first valid pattern. How about this one? Unless you are a natural-born citizen of the Philippines, you cannot play in the PBA as a local player. Is this a conditional proposition? Yes. Okay. Unless you are a natural-born citizen of the Philippines, you cannot play in the PBA as a local player. Because it can be translated as if you are not, no? The word unless can be put into if you are not. If you are not a natural-born citizen of the Philippines, you cannot play in the PBA as a local player. The condition or the antecedent is you are not a natural-born citizen of the Philippines. Okay? You don't say you are natural-born citizen of the Philippines because you have the word unless. The word unless may also be put as if you are not. So your antecedent is you are not you are. And you follow? Okay. You are not a natural-born citizen of the Philippines. And your antecedent is you cannot play in the PBA. You cannot play in the PBA as a local player. Right. Those are the parts of this conditional proposition. Can you follow? Okay. Now, if you are asked, what is the logical pattern of this conditional syllogism na to? Conditional syllogism. Unless you are a natural-born citizen of the Philippines, you cannot play in the PBA as a local player. So that is P, then Q. What is the minor premise? But Asi Taulaba can play in the PBA as a local player. Okay? This is the consequent, correct? Si Taulaba can play in the PBA as a local player. The consequent is cannot, but it denies the consequent. It denies the consequent. You say there is no Q. There is no Q. Okay, what happened in the conclusion? He is a natural-born citizen of the Philippines. You say he is, but here in the antecedent, he cannot, no? You cannot. You can, if you are not. Okay? So here, you deny also the antecedent. You deny also the antecedent. So the logical pattern of this conditional syllogism is if P then Q, but there is no Q, therefore there is no P. Therefore there is no P. Okay? Take note of that. You must be familiar with these terminologies. and the schema of conditional syllogism. Again, as I have mentioned, the equivalent proposition of unless you are a natural born citizen of the Philippines, you cannot play in the PBA in the PBA as local player is if you are not a natural born citizen of the Philippines, you cannot play in the PBA as a local player. Another example, if you fail this subject, you must repeat this on summer. That is conditional proposition, and that is the major premise. But you fail this subject, thus you must repeat this on summer. What is the pattern of this conditional syllogism? P, then Q, that's the major premise. What happened in the minor premise? You fail the subject. You affirm the antecedent, but there is P. Therefore, what happened in the conclusion? You must repeat this on summer. Same lang, ano? Same lang yung consequent. So therefore, there is Q. That's the pattern of this syllogism. P then Q, but there is P, therefore there is Q. Later, you will understand that is a valid pattern. Modus ponens. Yung kanina modus tollens, that's also valid. We'll discuss that next meeting. Okay. If only she is black-skinned, then she would not be that attractive. Okay. So that is the P then Q. P then Q. She is not black-skinned. Dininay, ano? There is no P. She is attractive. There's no Q. Okay? Yan ang pattern yan. P, then Q, but there is no P. Therefore, there is no Q. Later, you will understand this is invalid. Okay? Faulty conditional syllogism. Because in conditional syllogism, you can only affirm the antecedent. Okay? And you can only deny the consequent. In this case, you denied the antecedent. But sa susunod na yan, sa susunod natin na di-discuss yung bagay na yan, you should be familiar with the nature of hypothetical propositions. In this case, conditional proposition. Okay. Let's go to the next. Bakit hindi ito mabura? Ano ka lang muna. Stop share ko. Okay. Again, if only she is black-skinned, then she would not be that attractive. P then Q yan. But she is not black-skinned. There is no P. P then Q. But there is no P. Therefore, there's no P. That's the pattern. That's the schema of that conditional syllogism. Let's go to the next. Now let's go to disjunctive proposition. Disjunctive proposition contains two components called disjuncts. When we say disjuncts, these are the alternates, the alternatives, the options. That's the sense of disjunctive proposition. It's in either or statement. Example, either Bantay ran away or got hit by a jeepney. Okay. Here, the disjuncts or the alternants are linked by either or statement. Either Bantay ran away or got hit by a jeepney. The first disjunct is Bantay ran away, while the second disjunct is Bantay got hit by a jeepney. And it is linked by either or. So it falls under the definition of disjunctive proposition. Or in some cases, There is no either, but simply or. Like in this example, water is hot or cold. You have two alternants, you have two disjuncts. Water is hot, water is cold. Okay. The first disjunct is symbolized by small letter P. The second disjunct is symbolized by small letter Q. We also use P and Q. Okay? Don't be confused. It's also P and Q. But here we call it first disjunct P, second disjunct Q. In conditional proposition, P is antecedent, Q is consequent. Here, first disjunct P, second disjunct Q. And it is, there is a symbol of disjunction which we call the wedge. Yung palakol, no? Wedge. Panghati, pang-divide, either or eh. Wedge. It is symbolized by a wedge. So how do you read how you read this proposition? Either P or Q. Either P or Q. That's how you read this schema or this pattern. Either P or Q. How you read this one? If P, then Q. If P, then Q. Here, either P or Q. Okay. Let's continue. There are two types, di ba? As I mentioned, proper disjunctive and improper disjunctive. What is proper disjunctive? It exists if and when the alternants, the P or and Q, if the alternants are mutually exclusive. When you say mutually exclusive, they cannot be both true, they cannot be both false. They are, if the alternants, if the P and the Q are mutually exclusive, then it falls under proper disjunctive. Mahalaga kasi yan kasi magkaiba ang rules sa proper disjunctive, magkaiba ang rules sa improper disjunctive. Here, one disjunct necessarily rules out the other. If one disjunct is false or not present, if one disjunct is not present, then the second disjunct must be present. If the first disjunct is present, then the second disjunct must be absent. That's what we call proper disjunctive. Meaning the disjuncts cannot be true or false together at the same time. Like in this example, it's either raining or not raining. What are the alternants? It is raining, that's the P. It is not raining, that's the Q, the second disjunct. If it is true that it is raining, can it also be true that it is not raining? That's not possible, ano? Because the alternants here are mutually exclusive. Either you are male or female. It also falls under proper disjunctive. Hindi naman pwedeng ilagay sa birth certificate mo that you are both male and female. Either you are male or female. Is this a proper disjunctive? Yes, because the alternants are mutually exclusive. And later on, you will say, and the alternants are, the list of the alternatives is complete. Okay? Mutually exclusive and the enumeration of alternatives is complete. Here, the P or the first disjunct is you are male, and the Q or the second disjunct is you are female. What is the logical pattern of this given? Okay. The teacher is either present or absent last Wednesday. So this is P, either P or Q. What is in the minor premise? Mr. X was absent last Wednesday. Okay. Was absent. So this is Q. But there is Q. Therefore, he was not present last Wednesday. Therefore, there is no P. Okay. Teacher is present. Teacher is present. That's the P. Teacher is absent last Wednesday. That's the Q. And you say in the minor premise that Q is present, that Q exists. Mr. X was absent last Wednesday. Say Q is true. Therefore, there is no P. So the pattern of this is either P or Q, but there is Q. Therefore, there is no P. Okay? This is now an either or. Hindi na ito if P then Q, ha? Magkaiba yun. Take note of that. Okay? So, for emphasis lang, no? So the major premise is either P or Q. It is the teacher is either present or absent last Wednesday. Then in the minor premise, you say Mr. X was absent last Wednesday. And that is the second disjunct. Okay, the second disjunct. Therefore, he was not present last Wednesday. It is therefore there is no P. Therefore, there is no P. How about this one? A sauna is either successful or unsuccessful. This is the minor premise, either P or Q. What is in the minor premise? BBM sauna is unsuccessful. Okay, but there is Q. Therefore, it is not successful. There is no Q. There is no P. Okay, that's the schema of that. Either P or Q, but there is Q. Therefore, there is no P. Okay. How about this one? Today is either Monday or Tuesday. Today is Monday or Tuesday. Is this proper disjunctive? What do you think? So, what are the uh, requisites? What are the requisites to be proper disjunctive? Okay. The alternants must be mutually exclusive. Can it be Monday and Tuesday at the same time? No, they are mutually exclusive. The problem here is the list of alternatives is not complete, because if you say but today is not Monday. Today is not Monday. You say it's, let's say today is Monday. Today is Monday. Necessarily, today is not Tuesday because today is Monday. But the problem is, if today is not Monday, necessarily it's Tuesday? No. The list of alternatives is not complete. Okay? The disjuncts are mutually exclusive. However, the enumeration of alternatives is not complete. If it's not the case that today is Monday, it does not necessarily mean that today is Tuesday, because the sense of this is conjunctive. It cannot be the case that today is Monday and Tuesday. But since you put it in either or, it must fall under proper disjunctive. Okay, take note of that. Okay, although the enumeration of the alternates in this case is not complete, it will still fall under proper disjunctive because you put that in an either or. Parang nilagay mo lamang dalawa na lang yung alternatives. Can you still follow? So the alternants are mutually exclusive. So if you put this in either or, it must fall under proper disjunctive. Again, the sense of that previous example is a conjunctive proposition. The sense of that is it cannot be the case that today is Monday and Tuesday. And there is different rule in conjunctive proposition. But again, in one book that I read, it said that if you put that in either or, it must fall under proper disjunctive. Meaning if you deny one, alternative, you have to affirm the other alternative. You say, today is not Monday, necessarily today is Tuesday. Okay? There's no problem if you affirm, today is Monday, necessarily today is not Tuesday. Okay? Either today is Monday or Tuesday. But if you say today is not Monday, you have to affirm that today is Tuesday because you put that in an either or. And it falls under proper disjunctive. How about improper disjunctive? Iba naman ang improper disjunctive. It exists if and when the disjuncts are not mutually exclusive. One disjunct does not necessarily rule out the other. For example, Edgar is either singing or taking a shower. What are the alternants? What is the first disjunct? Edgar is singing. What is the second disjunct or the cue? Edgar is taking a shower. Are the alternants mutually exclusive? No. Okay. Because it's possible that Edgar is singing and at the same time taking a shower. As I mentioned in this slide, the person named Edgar may be both singing and taking a shower at the same time. So the alternants are not mutually exclusive. How about this one? Either my brother or I will sing. Is this proper or improper disjunctive? This is, you have to evaluate this using the requisite. What are the requisites for proper disjunctive? The disjuncts must be mutually exclusive. What are the disjuncts in this example? My brother will sing. I will sing. Are the two alternants mutually exclusive? The answer is no. It's possible that we both sing. Can you still follow? So yung first requisite not present. So it will fall under improper disjunction. At least one will sing, but possibly both will sing. Meaning, if you say either my brother or I will sing, but I will not sing, necessarily my brother will sing. Okay? Because at least one of us will sing. If I say I will not sing, if you say the Q is not present, necessarily the P must be present. Okay. Since at least one is true, if we negate one, we must affirm the other. Note, in improper disjunction, the two disjuncts may be both true. Like in this case, either Isa or Charis will sing. There is a possibility that both of them are singing, but if you say in the minor premise that Isa will not sing, if you deny one disjunct, the second disjunct must be affirmed. How to distinguish? How to distinguish between proper and improper disjunction? You have to analyze the subject matter and its context by which it takes place. Either Lito or Melot will sing. Is this proper or improper? The first question is, are the alternants mutually exclusive? The alternants, Lito will sing, Melot will sing. Are they mutually exclusive? You analyze the subject matter, are they mutually exclusive? Okay? So the answer is no. That is improper disjunction. Again, the requisites, the enumeration of the possibilities must be complete and there must be an exclusive opposition between or among the enumerated possibilities. The alternates must be mutually exclusive. Second, and the list of enumeration must be complete. But again, if you put that in an either or, even if the enumeration is not complete, then it will fall under proper disjunctive if the alternants are mutually exclusive. How about this one? Either you are in Manila or in Australia. Again, that's the same with today's either Monday or Tuesday. Okay. Are the alternants here? What are the alternants here? You are in Manila or you are in Australia. Can they be both true? No, it's impossible. Ang layo ng Australia. Okay. It cannot be the case that you are in Manila. Parang ang sense yan, it cannot be the case that you are in Manila and in Australia at the same time. But you put that in an either or, it must fall under proper disjunctive. Because we put a statement in an either or, the negation of one alternative would mean an affirmation of the other alternative. Next type of hypothetical proposition is what we call conjunctive proposition. Here it denies the simultaneous possibility of two or more alternatives. Meaning the alternatives cannot be both true at the same time, but both alternatives may be false. Now, the parts here are called conjuncts. Ano nga yung tawag sa disjunctive proposition? Ano yung tawag sa parts? Disjuncts. Okay. Sa conditional proposition, ano naman na yung mga P and Q doon? Antecedent, consequent. Here, first conjunct P, second conjunct Q. Example, God cannot exist and not exist at the same time. Here, the P is God cannot exist. God exists. Okay? The first conjunct is God exists. Okay? The second conjunct is God does not exist. All right? Another example, you cannot be in Bulacan and in Manila at the same time. The first conjunct is you are in Bulacan. The second conjunct is you are in Manila. Okay. The symbol for first conjunct is P. The symbol for second conjunct is Q. And the symbol of relation, conditional relation, is a dot. What is a symbol for conditional? Horseshoe. What is a symbol for disjunction? A wedge. Wedge. Okay. And what is a symbol for conjunction? Dot. N. And yan. If P then Q, either P or Q, dito naman sa conjunction, it cannot be the case that P and Q. It cannot be the case that P and Q. Okay, how you read the proposition here. If P then Q. All right, if P then Q. Here, either P or Q. Either P or Q. And conjunction, it cannot be the case cannot be the case that P and Q. Okay? It cannot be the case that P and Q. Take note of that. Mahalaga yan as we progress in our discussions. Let's see kung naiintindihan nyo. If Daffy Duck is a rabbit, then Daffy Duck is a mammal. What type of proposition is this? The answer is, what is that? What is the answer? What type of proposition is this? Conditional. This is conditional proposition. How to determine the truth and falsehood of conditional proposition? Whether or not there is a causal connection between the antecedent and the consequent. Is there a causal connection between the antecedent and the consequent? The answer is yes. This is true. If the antecedent is false, if you say Daffy Duck is not a rabbit, what is the truth value of the consequent? What is the truth value of Daffy Duck is a mammal? If you say Daffy Duck is not a rabbit, is it necessarily true that Daffy Duck is not a mammal? The answer is no. The consequent must be doubtful. Okay? You should not derive a valid conclusion to its consequent. Later, you will understand that as we discuss the rules. Okay? If you deny the antecedent, okay, and you deny the consequent in the conclusion, that is faulty conditional proposition. Okay. How about this one? Peter is in Manila or in Bicol. Is this proper? If you are asked in the exam, is this proper or improper disjunctive? The answer is proper disjunctive. Although the enumeration of the alternants is not complete, but if you put this in either or, it will fall under proper disjunctive. Okay? Because the disjuncts are mutually exclusive. Can you be in Bicol and in Manila at the same time? It cannot be the case. And again, the sense of that is conjunctive. But you put that in either or, it falls under proper disjunctive. If you deny one, you have to affirm the other. If you affirm one, you have to deny the other. If you say Peter is in Bicol, what will be the truth value of the first disjunct? False. He should not be in Manila. You cannot be God of goodness and God of evil at the same time. Is this a hypothetical proposition? The answer is yes, because it has two judgments. You are God of goodness, you are God of evil. It can only be a categorical proposition if it is a simple proposition, but in this case, it's a compound proposition. There is an expression of conjunction. If you deny the first conjunct, what will be the truth value of the other conjunct? False. Okay. So those are the things that we need to discuss today for you to be ready for our discussion next meeting on the rules of hypothetical syllogism. So review this material and then we will discuss the rules on hypothetical syllogism next meeting. Thank you very much.